What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Arcadia Network. My name is Crunch Beats, and I am logging on and pressing start here on yet another video. Hopefully everyone's having a lovely day today. Once again, we are joined live doing this recording over on the Twitch channel. If you guys aren't already, please make sure you go and follow it. And we are playing, or continuing, Honkai Impact Part 2, Chapter 1, Phase 2. Last time, we were talking about what was going on, why we were split from our short companion, Korra. We found out that Song is actually a Su, or a Tu. I don't actually know how it's pronounced. Guys, this is bulk recorded, so if you corrected me in the last episode, don't be angry. It's very unlikely, I will... This is going to be uploaded in a while, as I'm getting some videos ready at the time, so... It might take time for some of these changes that the comments will correct me on to come into fruition, and I do apologize. But we left off reading a book, and it brought us into a virtual world. Similar to the Arcadia, must I say. So, without further ado, is this a three-dimensional projection of data? Wow. You people even know some Taoist arts? Can this still be called a book? It's impressive, but how are we supposed to read it? I usually deal with more abstract books, so I don't have much experience either. But following the author's instructions should give us enough to go off. The next part of the story is reconstructed from the notes of an unnamed investigator. Due to the loss of content, I had to supplement it with information from other sources, so please bear with me, dear readers. According to the notes, the undisclosed investigator was sent to Amber Street on a confidential mission. And according to the numerous records, Amber Street remained a dangerous location full of disasters for a very long time. So this is very much like what we've only just got in Penacony as well. Great, you're finally awake. Didn't expect I had to divert some energy to care of my reinforcements. How are you feeling? Do you have a grasp on the situation yet? Those black things on the ground. Yeah, you were attacked by your own shadow, even though you joined us not long ago. I'm sure you've read some instructions in the manual, right? What happened here? A tricky issue. It seems like more than 3 different supernatural occurrences emerged simultaneously. And it's said that even the Su of Sacrifice fell here. Of course, he had a bit of a death wish, so maybe it was intentional. But the fact is that he got his wish also indicates there's dangers here. How is that possible? I know. In this regard, our abilities are still a far cry from theirs, and us coming here didn't really make a difference. But even they couldn't handle the trouble here. We as mere mortals could only send a few people to their deaths to show that we tried our best, right? Unfortunately, that's who we are. As mentioned in the notes, the investigator was once part of an official organization responsible for combating the curse in the shadows. Although he didn't mention its name, I think many of you have already made your guesses. And he was one of the witnesses to the well-known Amber Street Great Panic. This feels very real. Did they use the Sea of Data's technology? I suppose you could say that. I've seen plenty of instances of virtual representation. My master loved doing that. However, the scenery in this book does indeed resemble Amber Street's a lot. How fascinating. So, how about the Su of Sacrifice mentioned in the story? Oh, it's Uncle Litrost. But he's not that easy to kill. It's just like the person said, he has a death wish, but it's definitely not because of some trivial matters mentioned earlier. Judging from the tone when mentioning them, it doesn't sound like they take some trivial matters at all. But if we put aside the fact we're currently inside the book, the note that it refers to should actually have some credibility, right? It's hard to say. How about we continue reading? Don't worry, we'll get you out of this area soon. They say the others are on the way here, so don't worry. Everything will be okay. And what's important is that... Oh, it doesn't matter who comes. You haven't even seen that monster. It's like... It doesn't matter who comes. It doesn't matter. It's not true. Everything will be fine, so you mustn't be afraid. Not be afraid. How's that possible? After seeing something like that, something humans are no match for, how could I... Am I too late again? What exactly did they see? Because they merely sensed fear, there were monsters emerging from their own shadows. Is this a form of the 10 faces of misery? Exactly. In earlier days, life was perilous for everyone. But considering you've experienced fear gathering before, it shouldn't seem too strange to you, right? But why isn't the current Oxia? Ah, looks like you figured it out finally. You're right. 100 years ago, we rounded up all the shadows and isolated them in a certain place. The very same Lankui you've seen before. We even exterminated the evils and permanently resolved the threat of the Great Eruption. When I first arrived, I seem to have encountered a similar thing in the shadows. Could it be a form of prophecy? Or divination dreams? No wonder why people admire you so much. It's our responsibility after all. And if we had happened to make some money on the way, that makes it more enjoyable, no? But if they really are powerful, the person just now, what got them so terrified? Yeah. Why? Wait, isn't that the dog that brought us here? Donik? You guys really saw it before? Of course. If it weren't for it, we wouldn't have reached Lanku and we wouldn't have met you. How's it possible? It should not be able to leave itself. Are you sure you didn't mistake it for some other dog? It's really hard to mistake that two tails. And it can even play with shadows. How could it be? How could it be like this? If evil cannot be eliminated, then take its place. What nonsense. I will never be afraid. I will never leave here alive. What is he saying? So this dog. What exactly? Same as the one you saw before. A monster that jumped out of the shadows. However, the shadow monsters of the Suit of Sacrifice is no ordinary monster. It's a shadow. Wait, you guys aren't specifically responsible for eliminating those creatures? Why do you have your own monsters? No one else does. Uncle Litos was just different. I don't know how he got Donik to be fascinated with him, that it willingly signed some kind of contract with him. I didn't witness it myself, though. After that, Uncle Litos gained the ability to manipulate shadows overnight and became one of us. Manipulate shadows? Yeah. Although my master didn't include it in the rules, the ability to dispel shadows mostly comes from the shadows themselves. Then, can you do it for me? That sounds cool. I'd like to, but there aren't many shadows here. Besides, isn't fear gathering already an example? Oh. Well then, how about you show us next time we go to Lankui to fetch Coralie? So, have we actually found any clues or not? This is the dog that brought us here at Lanku, right? I'm afraid not. Huh? Why? What? What? Man, this damn library Wi-Fi. The data loading was abruptly interrupted. Huh? Is this how the book ends? The contents of the notes end here, and it seems that after that, this investigator did not escape his fate. The only thing that can be confirmed is that the presumed dead Thu appeared again, making the Amber Street Great Panic a thing of the past, transforming it from a place everyone avoided into a bustling commercial district. You gotta be kidding me. No conclusion at all? I hate cliffhangers! So, Song, do you also have no clues how he appeared outside of your world? Well, it's been a while since I last saw it, but it shouldn't have been able to leave. Who knows? Maybe there's a misunderstanding? Anyway, the confirmation from the gadgets is that the Anchor of Apocalypse actually operated twice today. Should we continue reading here? Or should we go ask Shen? After all, we've gained some information here. Sure, but regarding this matter, we might also want to hear Gadget's opinion. Meanwhile, in another world, are we going to Cora or to Uncle? So, let's summarize the information we have. Hey Alex, how you doing? Welcome on in. We're currently recording and streaming at the same time, so if you want to say hi YouTube, feel welcome to do so. How you doing? The first is about the world itself. Longu and Oxia were originally in the same world, split in two by Thus, after 100 years ago. Or, to be more precise, by them with Song as the lead. Therefore isolating the curse and shadows in Lung, while allowing Oxia to be rebuilt in a brand new bubble universe, unaffected by the Great Eruption. I'm glad to hear you're just chilling. Hopefully you're having some fun. Strictly speaking, this is still a conjecture. Only after stabilizing the pathway and completing an accurate mapping of the bubbling universe can it be conclusively determined. Sorry, my brain can't read sometimes. If you're just looking to be some armchair professor, then you better keep quiet. We're exploring, not doing mathematical proofs. Question. What is an armchair professor? Never mind. Let's continue summarizing the second point. Currently, continuous observation of the Anchor of Apocalypse indicates that it's undergone some new changes compared to the previous situation. According to Ms. Shen, although it hasn't released the same level of energy as before, it unexpectedly retains some kind of activity. Although the reason is unclear, it gives a slight response to external energy stimuli. If we can extend the duration of the experiment, perhaps we can independently find a way to use it. Are you kidding me? Oh no! I think my mouse has been pressing the stop-start button. This whole time, my mouse has been pressing stop and start. Oh, yeah. Well, I am not going to let that continue. That's annoying. Suppose I need an editing software. However, dog may have already achieved this. Is it just a normal dog? Have you ever thought about what the two we're talking about actually is? Get to the point already, would you? In the history of Andhra City, which is the precursor to Lanku, there was once a tyrant. When she grew disgusted with her subjects, she would reward them with a precious and rare exotic beast. To properly care for such a rare creature, the subjects had to go to great lengths and sacrifice everything. If they failed to care for the beast, the tyrant could use their negligence as a reason to kill them. The abilities of Sue, in my view, are similar. I give up. For the sake of all our communication efficiency, I suggest you put aside your so-called reasoning process and just state your conclusions already. Fair enough. After all, your way of thinking is quite different from mine. In the past, for the sake of banishing evil spirits and monopolizing miracles, some people went so far as to separate everything into two worlds. Due to the twists and turns of fate, you are all unfortunately separated by this barrier. Ergo, we have to pull out the nail. You're the one who suggested I pull the reasoning process aside and just state my conclusions. Following the principle from earlier, shall we set off directly? When someone sees it, they'll naturally understand what's going on. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. So what happened is my mouse was left on the stop recording, start recording button. Every time I was pressing for dialogue, it was starting recording, stopping recording. Which means there's missing dialogue! Fuck. Oh. Oh, that's a bugger, that. It's a bugger that the mouse is still active with this stuff after. So... How am I going to do this? I have to deal with that. I'll figure out a way of dealing with it. So... Don't worry. The video should still be intact when it's up. I just have to find out a way of going about it. So you're saying that in your world, this thing is called a nail? From the perspective of being tools, at least its size is not more noteworthy than its functionality. Moreover, as a vessel for the power of the Thu, if it was too delicate, it would seem ill-fitting. Functionality? Yes, it's a tool for exterminating evil. Perhaps you've heard of the Great Eruption. The entire world gradually sinking into an abstract sea, an irrelevant approaching apocalypse. I was a bit confused before. Is your Great Eruption really that simple? I mean, wasn't there any other phenomena? Like a little girl who can control hurricanes? Wendy? Or feathers that induce illusions? Raven? Anything like that? Not at all. I haven't heard of that either. Maybe the name Great Eruption is just a coincidence, and all of this has nothing to do with the finality. So, from what it looks like now, the Great Eruption is no longer a disaster troubling you? Yeah. Thanks to the 7 nails you're looking at. Short for 7 posts of transfixing shadows. This is one of them. Of course, this leads to another matter. In fact, for the residents of Lanku, before the Great Eruption, shadows was something more dangerous. No one knows how they originated. Perhaps the shadows themselves don't even know. What people can be sure of is that from a certain day on, they suddenly appeared in 10 different manifestations, wreaking havoc on the world, and fear was the root of them all. And those who conquer their own fears, delve into the shadows, and harness the power of them in return, are the ones who are referred to as that word. They thus obtained various abilities that distinguished them from ordinary people and exercised evils for the benefit of people, ultimately achieving supreme and legendary feats. They infused the power of shadows into the nails, reciting the tide of the Great Eruption that was trying to engulf the world, and prevented it from sinking. They even made improvements to the shadows, making the fear-gathering possible. The above info comes from the ancient texts. I do not vouch for its authenticity. Hey, as gadgets, aren't you also one of them? As long as I'm quoting literature, I'm not bragging. But since it's a quote, I can't vouch for its authenticity. Anything else you want to dig into? Absolutely. Infusing the power of shadow into the nails? Is that what you meant by nourishment earlier? Exactly. After achieving such a grand feat, even a student would get exhausted. 5 4/5 out of the 7 have fallen into a deep slumber. 4/5. Sonk counts as 1, and I count as 1/5. So naturally, there are 5 4/5 out of the 7. Now, what we need to do is temporarily pull out the nail and let the power return to their bodies. Will that trigger the Great Eruption or spark hostility from them? Not quickly. And believe me, when they know their companions have come here but are heading to Oxia, then it will be an undeniable crisis for them. It's natural someone needs to awaken them. Henceforth, in my view, if we temporarily remove the nails, you get a chance to reunite with your companions. We'll also earn their gratitude. Afterward, all of you can team up to take on another potential issues. Sure, if there's trouble in Oxia, Lantiu won't be at peace, and vice versa. Sounds reasonable. But what if it's just a one-sided of the story? Let's wait for Song to return. Then everyone can confirm together. Honestly, she's not a great liar. Her lies are usually quickly exposed, despite being, the one of deception. What next, assuming we've reached an agreement? I'll try to release the shadows in the nails. During this process, a bunch of monsters will emerge. The job is to eliminate as many as possible to ensure I have enough strength to continue. I don't quite get the logic behind this. It's a trade-off, remember? Simply put, what you're about to do is use those monsters as a price to perform a fear gathering that gives me power, allowing me to pry open the nails in front of me. This is a last resort. The man who left it, though always seeking death, might still be more powerful than I am. Of course, if you're up for running around, monsters found elsewhere can also serve as nourishment, but that's certainly not as convenient as sourced locally, right? You know your stuff. You're just slow to act. Hylia, after hearing all this, what do you and Miss Chen think? You've already made up your mind, haven't you? That's right. I won't blindly follow the opinions of a tool, but I also plan to try the method it suggested as soon as possible. You seem like a nice girl. They never said a word when I was betrayed in the past. Come on. Since this operation is kind of like a test, let's start by making the most of what we have. So I love this character because of the spin. Which she doesn't get immediately. As you can see, her burst also uses up a stack of this. Two, three, four. I can't remember how I get the stacks back, which is kind of what I need to learn for her, is how to get the stacks back. That is indeed a nail. Oh no, not this symbol. That's a symbol we saw before. Give me 1 second, sorry. The signal suddenly got cut off as soon as the experiment began. Perhaps it's because Lunka's shadows were concentrated due to the experiment. But with Gadget over there, Coralie should be fine. You better keep your word. Well, I know you're worried about her now, but rest assured, as a member of the Shoes, Gadget is not to be underestimated. Trust me, just be patient, and communication on their end will eventually be restored. Oh, how could I forget? Something not related to Coralie, but rather literally about gadgets. There's something else we need to check out here. Krona, do you remember the first day you enrolled? Besides the Anchor of the Apocalypse, I took you on a tour of something else in this building. Huh? You mean that box? The one in the monitoring facility? Isn't it an artifact? Yes. But just because it's a relic, doesn't mean it can't have its practical values. Well, for most students at the Data Research Institute, visiting might just be a tradition. What most people don't know is, children from the Sea of Data can establish some sort of spiritual connection with it. Though, that wasn't the original purpose of the relic. Could it be like some kind of magical item? Like, the literacy? Well, if you want to draw a parallel in that direction, it might be somewhat similar to a save point in video games. Huh? This is getting more mysterious. Don't worry. You'll understand once you give it a try. Who knows? You might make one of those unexpected discoveries. I already sent the permissions for you guys. If we stay here, we can only wait for communications to be restored with Coralie. Maybe we're adding extra pressure on Helia. Since it's come to this, I'll go take a look. I'll go with you. I'll stay here and wait for Coralie's message. What about Miss Song? Honestly, with Gadget on the other side, whether I'm there or not doesn't make much difference. What I mean is there's no need for two shoes to intervene. Then, how about I also go and check that ancient item you mentioned? To be honest, I might have some knowledge of appraising artifacts. You are our guest. If you want to visit somewhere or do something, it's entirely up to you. Jeez. Great, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. How do I get up there? Because I probably should. Oh, that must be it. That is a really weird place to just have it. Really? Haven't there been too many coincidences today? You've seen it before? Of course. This is my master's treasure. With his noble background, there's nothing luxurious and valuable he hasn't seen. But he cherished this thing like crazy. I never expected to see it here. I thought he would be sleeping with it by now. I don't really know the origin of this relic. Do you know how to use it specifically? Well, I haven't had the chance. Master treasured it so much, even I couldn't touch it. Plus, I never seen him use it. I see. But since Shen gave you permissions, why not give it a try? Put your hand on it and see if anything happens. Okay, I'll give it a shot. Touch. Wow, your permission verification is so advanced. No, it seems more than that. Huh? Shen? Looks like the time has come for you to use it. I left this message on your first day of school. Not sure when you would hear it. Anyway, it indicates that your academic progress has been smooth, and you have finally some experience worth revisiting. Our mentor often had a saying, and today I pass it on to you. While love steals the hearts of others, it's art that steals into ourselves. And so, I hope that experience is a pleasant one for you. What does she mean? Huh? What's happening? It's quite simple. Let me guess. Based on our previous experiences, we should be inexplicably pulled into something, then suddenly appear in another world, right? No, those experiences you're talking about are too... Ah! Welcome to the box of memories and time. Please relax. If you want to exit the memories, just think exit at any time. Oh, great. We're back in the red world. I'm back in the building again! What? The Sea of Data? This is exactly the same. Wait. Look, over there. Is that us? Do you know me? I'm not sure. We probably met in a dream? What kind of corny pickup line is that? Oh, sorry, my apologies. I didn't mean to make fun of you. Don't mind me. Are you not Senatina? My name is indeed Senatina. I also go by Senna. For the present, these conversations were familiar. After all, the scene before them happened not too long ago, and was consistent with the reality they knew. Except he was a she. Is this when you two first met? Isn't it obvious? It's as genuine as it gets. But what's going on? Is it also the Sea of Data's recurrence ability? Not necessarily. It might be more like the books in the library, closer to virtual reality than a complete recurrence archived, achieved by source matter. Ah, I see. Shun said she mentioned she got permission to use this relic. In that case, Song should be the one to use it. This way, we might get a more direct view of Longqua's past. So, do we need to think exit now? There's probably no need for that. Anything you want to know, I can just tell you directly. And if there's any confusion, gadgets can confirm. No need to complicate things. Moreover, it probably wouldn't be useful, right? I didn't establish any connection with it like you did before. True. Wait. Actually, it can be quite useful. Think about it. The reason we go to Longqua is because we encountered that dog, right? Coincidentally, when we were in the Sea of Data, it should have been nearby. But back then, we didn't have a chance to roam around like we can do now. If we can find it now and see how it comes and goes freely, wouldn't that solve our problems? But it's hard to determine whether what we're seeing now is just the scenes from my memory, or the complete picture of that moment. Oh well. Since we're here, why not give it a try? As long as we catch it before that encounter, there's a good chance of discovering secrets everyone overlooked. But where are we starting from? Here we go. This is something that I learned since last time, by the way. If you hold the dodge button with her, she skates. Now there's one other thing I want to do here. My team is ready to go, and we're going to swap. My characters are ready to go. seem the same as they were last time. And anchored. And flank. You'll have to excuse this quietness. I'm just thinking how I'm going to go over the cutscenes. I have an idea how to do it. I hate to do it, but I'm probably going to have to use someone else's playthrough. And if I have, note to future self, if I have not credited that video in the description of this one, call me out for it. I am not a content thief, and I refuse to be one. So, if I haven't got it credited, let me know immediately to credit that now. I will show it, but I should also link it. Over there, lucky for us. It really is here. Ult its ass! Ult its ass. Huh? It's really unique. How did... Huh. It's easy. Let's go and see for ourselves. Hey, Senna! How could it be? The other side is directly connected to the anchor of Apocalypse. Wait, so when we activated it before, it wasn't because I accidentally triggered it, but... This little thing could activate from the very beginning. It was just waiting for an opportunity to locate Oxia, where Chrono is. The truth between those two activations, could it be? Hey! Hey, are you guys okay? You look so pale. Wait, this isn't due to the Sea of Data's influence. Sonic, are you hiding something from us? Busted! So, you hiding something from me? Everything I say is true. Then, why didn't you explain what's going on here? It's been some time since the girl was swept into the black torrent of shadow. Why did we end up here after you pulled out the nail? Well, this was quite foreseeable development. Even a necessary process, I would say. You didn't ask me beforehand. Otherwise, you'd have known this was going to happen. It looks like I really need to change my way of communicating with you. There's the deception! So, where exactly is this? And what about the residents of Amber Street? They do not yet exist. Fine. I'll try to do it your way. Could you accurately describe the nature of this place and the reason we are here? You catch on first. Precisely speaking, this is Amber Street from 100 years ago. But we haven't traversed through time. The power of shadow stems from the people's fear, and fear originates from people's hearts. Therefore, when a man infuses power into the 7 nails, a part of himself would inevitably remain, such as memories, I suppose. And since the nail we pulled up belonged to that man, it's not hard to guess which moment we're currently in. That man? Ah, perhaps you've never heard of the Amber Street Great Panic. But for the man I'm thinking of, it was a great achievement, no doubt. Don't worry. This is just a fleeting resurgence. Even if we sit here doing nothing, the memory will disperse on its own. But if you're interested, feel free to roam around and witness Latos's new approach to exorcism. It'll happen at a certain point in time. Can't you explain things a little more clearly? Remember the 10 manifestations I mentioned? various calamities that come with shadows. The Amber Street Great Panic was one of them. Although later categorized as one of the 10 Faces of Misery, when it first appeared, it was unprecedented, and there was no known way to resolve it. And now, it's happening right before your eyes. We are reliving the library. Oh. Don't worry, it's okay. I still have some of the flowers they developed with me. Dead, huh? But why? How could a dead person still feel fear? Could it be... That is a slow-ass run. Monsters born from shadows. I see. That's where the problem lies. As you've witnessed, human fear gives rise to shadows, and shadows turn into calamities. But following this theory, the corpse in front of you shouldn't be able to continue generating calamities anymore. You mean this wounded person we see isn't the true source of these monsters? Exactly. And the person who looked like an investigator in front of us will soon realize the key to that matter. The true source of calamities in this area is in fact Amber Street itself. The street gains sentience? Maybe it just exploited a shadow loophole. In the beginning, there might indeed have been more monsters here, but the incident was quickly quelled. Later, a shadow-born epidemic began spreading in Amber Street, but it didn't cause much damage. What are you trying to say? These calamities aren't considered a huge threat. Unfortunately, people start to become suspicious. Why is it always Amber Street? Looks like you guessed it. Although the frequent appearance of the 10 Faces of Misery in Amber Street was just a coincidence, as rumors spread and anxiety took hold, the public began to fear that place. Since then, the unwavering fear of thousands of people eventually turned Amber Street into a colossal Pandora's box, and then no one could change it anymore. Monsters emerging from the shadows aren't so bad once you get used to them. Eliminating them is just a trivial task for us. Even an ordinary person like the investigator you saw earlier could handle them. But even if you know it's all just rumors, how do you get rid of mass hysteria? It's all common sense. No matter how much you believe, a rumor isn't reality. But the shadows provide the necessary conditions for that. Exactly. From a certain perspective, it might seem similar to the principle of the fear gathering. So what happened later? That panic was eventually put to an end. But how? Simple. The Toast was the first one willing to do it. So, how about we follow along? Perhaps we'll have a chance to witness it firsthand. That dog. Have you seen it before? Consider it the direct reason for my arrival here. What exactly is it? That is a long story. You can think of it as his pet, I guess. Although it was originally created by shadows, it acted accordingly to the Toast's will. For example, just now, following his orders, it killed this unfortunate investigator right in front of you. How could it How could it be like this? Exactly. If evil is not eliminated, then take its place. That is the only way I can think of. Farewell, stranger. One day I will sacrifice myself and repay the blood debt owed today. Death, whenever mentioned, it's always treated as something invisible. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. In people's minds, this ominous presence, which resembles a Stygian smoke, is only perceived at specific moments. And right here, this man cloaked in shadows. Anyone's judgment upon seeing him would likely be the same. Death takes over the body, like storm clouds forming all around. But before that, do it, Dunique. Which is, however, perpetually skewed. Skewed, even, not skewered. It's not food. Indeed, being haunted by death omen might summarize the man's past and aspirations. And in truth, what he's about to do bears a similar essence. Let's go and exterminate every single person in Amber Street. Shit. He's a bad, bad man! Shit. Too bad. Seems like it's not the right time to end. No. I think I've figured it all out. Oh. Since people's fear of Amber Street doesn't have an actual source, making it impossible to eliminate, then all you need to do is provide a source. He killed everyone in Amber Street and used it as evidence, claiming that everything was his doing, right? You got on quick. So, do you also approve of his methods? No. Was it necessary to go to such extremes? Why not? Anyway, as long as you step into Amber Street, ordinary people are bound to perish. The toast just changed the predetermined ending into a different form and shifted all the fear of Amber Street onto himself. Since then, he became the object of fear, and Amber Street gradually transformed into what you see today. Isn't that a happy ending for everyone? In other words, since then, he has disguised himself as the big bad villain. In a matter of time, erasing certain parts of the past is what Latosta excelled at. I can assure that you know the truth. Amber Street's Great Panic is probably known by very few people today. As you can see, this is just an insignificant past event if we see it from today. There were more memorable things that happened in Lanchu 100 years ago. Ultimately, shadows aren't cursed, but a rule? No one can give a definite answer, but I guess you can say that. Otherwise, how could it be give birth to such complex manifestations? Well, I do have a question. Oh? If we did indeed activate the Anchor Apocalypse, reconnecting the two worlds, what would happen? Well, let me ask you a question. Why did they separate the two worlds in the first place? It's a prison, which was meant to confine. It was precisely because of the rules of the 10 evil manifestations. A distant disturbance that had been heard once before rose to the sky, again from afar, accompanied by a certain omen pointing towards the heavens, as if the end times were approaching. Anchor of Apocalypse? What did you do? I'm just a tool. Without your command, I can't do anything. It seems the nail can pry loose Litost. You really forced DeLong to return him to Lanku. You were learning from our ways to deal with this matter, huh? My user, your opportunity to sneak into the city of Oxia has finally arrived. Shit. Oh, balls. Not long ago. The ritual used as a stalling tactic has finally come to an end. So, just because you visited Lanku, you're also plagued by the 10 faces of misery now? How could such a thing happen? Are you alright? Yeah, it's just temporary, nothing serious. If something unexpected happens, it'll be on me. You don't need to worry. So, what's the reason for this? If it's because of a contract with those shadows, then why are there no similar signs showing on the residents in Amber Street? After all, they have fear gathering there. But before becoming a so-called malevolent entity, it was first used as nourishment, so it's naturally safe and stable. No wondering that fear gathering is so important. So without it, even if I don't starve to death, I'll be attacked by those monsters? Bingo. But how, if I remember correctly, without the artifact, you should be able to complete the fear gathering, right? I used some tricks. The 10 faces of misery didn't disappear. They're just hidden in our shadows.
Sonic Alpha cheered X100.
Sonic Alpha, dude, thank you so much for the bits. How you doing? Hopefully having a lovely one. As mentioned before, it's just a stalling tactic. If we can't retrieve the gadget, we will both have to face the music together. Well, it seems that activating the Anchor Apocalypse is indeed urgent. I'm doing lovely. I made a bit of a mistake at the beginning of this episode. Turns out that I was hitting the stop recording, start recording constantly. So this is currently being recorded for YouTube. But I'm going to have to get a video editor. Probably just grab a bit of the opening cutscene. The about 10 minutes of opening cutscene from someone that's uploaded on YouTube. I don't really want to do it without permission, but there's no other way that I'm gonna be able to get the entire story on here, which is so annoying. It's an unfortunate part of this, and I believe it's going to be that way because I don't think it's a playable section. So I will try my best to make it as authentic as possible. If I do have to take it from someone, I will 100% credit it and even say their name. You know, give them full credit for this part of gameplay. It seems that activating the Anchor Apocalypse is indeed urgent. Wait, Song, if we indeed succeed, the phenomenal experience, will it... You have to be concerned. If our worlds reconnect, Oxia might also be in danger. But why did you... I see. Oh, figured out already. Preventing you from opening the pathway would only result in your death. And I would die in a foreign land as well. On the other hand, the 10 faces of misery might not be eradicated just because we die here. Instead, opening the pathway not only resolves the internet crisis, but also waking up the other stews, reenacting the events of 100 years ago, and ensuring peace on both sides. That can't be too hard, right? I miscalculated. Even with all our plans, I didn't account for Danig secretly opening pathways before. It didn't cause any commotion because it hadn't found Oxia yet. It was just moving in and out of the sea. But as you said, even if we find a way to reconnect the worlds, the entire city might still face a significant risk. Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Okay, it's up here. Okay. We're keeping it in that top left corner, okay? Or hoping to. Let's meet with Shen and the others first. Given the current situation, it's probably not up to us to make decisions. Give me a moment. I have to wrap up things before we leave. Tap the button on the main screen to antidotes. Okay, antidotes. Okay, so these are the 7 shoes. This is our details on them. Cool. Now, I do believe we are getting towards the end of the chapter. Do not worry, though. I will have a quick look at what else we can do. Although I may end off earlier. dependent on. Obviously, now the fact that I gotta re-records a bit. Huh? The anger apocalypse, why is it? Coralie's here! We're in big trouble. Huh? Why are you... Looks like the both of you are aware of some serious facts. How about syncing up a little bit first? Wait a sec. I'm feeling a bit lost after speaking in unison with someone with a complete opposite personality to me. Huh? Perhaps I can take care of it for you. No need. They briefly recounted their previous experiences. I see. Putting Chrono aside, now even Oxia itself might. Putting that aside... Oh, I just think that this won't pose too much of a problem for you. But it seems my own trip to Lunk will have to be postponed for now. The curse born from the shadows 100 years ago. If it really has the potential to infiltrate Oxia, I need to mobilize the entire research institute for more preparations. As for the Dream Seeker, continue with your studies for now. Yeah. According to what you all said, you've already found the crux of the matter. Other than those legendary suits, it seems no one can solve the current situation. Since it's a task you found yourself, go ahead and complete it on your own. What do you think? Stabilize or sever the connection between the two worlds while ensuring that the 10 Faces of Misery don't rampage along Oxia. I was about to say, she got some clipping. I keep noticing red in her dress. Yes, she does. Or find an alternative way to solve the current predicament. But there's no need for you to feel nervous. Maybe I'll unintentionally solve everything for you do. Who knows? Then we should hurry up and set off. Should we decide on a plan and who's taking part in the operation first? Chrono, your words literally broke my heart. We haven't explored Lanku proper yet. Are you saying some of us are trying to slack off? Right, Hylia? Song? No problem. We can't just leave you and find a way to contact Earth on our own. I do want some more leisure time though. Now that we have gadgets back, even if the 10 Faces of Misery really do come to Oxia, we can handle them. But I can't force you to go through all that again. I've suffered enough. I knew it. Well then! Wait. Why didn't you ask me? Is it because I'm Hylia's subordinate? I thought it wasn't necessary. You just say a few tough words with a poker face and then help when needed anyway. Don't just put me in a box like that. But since the matters on the other planet seem similar to the Heritage Authority, we definitely need to investigate and find out. See? What did I just say? Senna. Alright. It seems that everyone's on the same page. I'm looking forward to hearing the good news from all of you. How about we get their leader, Dunique, first? In order to accomplish this goal, everyone is able to return to Lanku. However, at the moment, perhaps no one except for Song could predict the century-spanning event which began with the death of a group of people, and it shall end with the death of another group. And through that, we have finished Phase 2. For those here on the video, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Crush Eats, logging out.